1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All of it.
One of resistance.
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Star Wars Reactions. We have missed you, and we are so happy to be back. And man, we have a jam-packed episode for you tonight. This is just going to be a rocket show. So you sit back, strap yourself in. We got so much to do. I'm not going to waste any time. Joining me, well, I guess I should tell you who me is first. Carabast. I am your Carabast with the most hosts, the Aaron Harris. And joining me, oh my gosh, wow, we're only 30 seconds in and I'm already losing my mind. Joining me, oh Lord have mercy, joining me is the Owen Lars to my Obi-Wan Kenobi, the David Motters. David, brother, what's going on, my friend?
Oh my gosh, like you said, everything in the Star Wars universe, including Kenobi and Celebration. As we record this, it is May 29th, and Celebration just ended a little bit ago there in Anaheim, so we have so much to talk about from that. Like we said, parts 1 and 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I am ready to react.
Absolutely. It is so much to talk about. As you said, David, Celebration literally ended hours ago there in Anaheim, and unfortunately neither of us were able to attend. We were taking care of our families, and which is what we have to do. We always put family first, which has always been something we've always put out there, and we'll always continue to do that. But you know, we were able to watch the live streams and catch up and stay on top of some things, and there was so much news that came out of this celebration. I mean, we got to talk about it. There's just no way around it. So let's go ahead and talk Celebration Anaheim. So many announcements came out of this celebration, and I just want to go through some of these announcements on what to look forward to in the coming rest of 2022 and even in 23. We got a lot of great news. Something I did not put in the notes, but I thought about after the fact that I'm like, man, why didn't I put that in the notes? We're getting a new Lego Star Wars special later this year. It's actually being released April 5th of 2022. This is called Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to Wally World.
You said April. Now
I'm sorry, August.
August. Okay.
August 5th. Did I
August
say
5th.
April? I apologize.
Okay.
Carabast. April. I just did it again.
I didn't want to. I was like, wait, is it April of next year, 2023, or? And then, like you said, August of this summer. So yeah, I love those specials, man. And I'm
August. Yes, it is August of 2022, August 5th, 2022. And since I am screwing up so much right now, I'm going to go ahead and put on my Carabast hat, because I'm setting a record for the most Carabasts in 2 minutes of a show. So. So I am now sitting here with my awesome Carabast hat from Fangirling for Jesus. So we got that coming out August 5th I said it right, August 5th of 2022. We got the Bad Batch season 2 trailer, dude. Did you see this?
I did today. Yes.
Holy smokes. Yeah, that was released today. What an incredible trailer. So much to look forward to. Everybody's kind of got pretty much an updated look for season 2. And it looks like it's going to be super exciting. It looks like their mission is shifting from just, trying to survive to trying to help people, which is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And I am really looking forward to that. And what's really cool about that, we don't have a release date, but we do know it's coming out fall of 2022.
Nice.
So later this year. So we got Kenobi going right now. In August 5th, we got the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation special. Sometime during the fall, we're getting the Bad Batch season 2.
Yes.
And August 31st of 2022, we get the first season of Andor.
Yes, that trailer. And wow. And 12 episodes. Holy.
Yes, it is the longest live action series to date. And not only did they confirm that this is going to be 12 episodes, they're already working on season 2, and it's going to be another 12 episodes.
Yes, I saw that, buddy. Holy crow.
So incredible news. And if you haven't seen the trailer, they released the poster and the trailer, both of which are on our social media. If you have not seen it, go watch that trailer. If you haven't watched it, where have you been? It's just, it leaves you just thirsting for more. I was more excited about this trailer than, I was going to say than anything else, but that's not true because something else came up and we'll talk about that in a moment. But this was the second most important thing I was excited about coming out of this celebration. You know what I'm talking about, David. And if people know me listening, they know what I'm talking about too. I'm saving the best for last, though.
That's right, buddy. That's right. So, no, I thought you were going to do another Carabas moment there, but
no, not yet. Not yet. It's coming though. Don't jinx me.
I know. I'm with you, buddy. I'm amazed at the amount of that content, and another 12. So we've seen typically, Obi-Wan's going to be 8. Mandalorian, we did 8 and 8. No, Obi-Wan's 6. Forgive me. Then Mandalorian 8 and 8. And then what do we have? We had 7 for Book of Boba Fett. Is that correct, brother?
I believe so. I'd have to go back and check, but I do believe it was 7.
So this is huge. It's a lot of content.
But we're not done.
Okay, keep going.
Fall of 2022, we are also getting a new animated series called Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And this I'm very interested in because this isn't like a series like we have with the Bad Batch or with Clone Wars Rebels or anything like that. It is going to follow the Clone Wars style animation from what they said in the panel. So it's going to look a lot like the Clone Wars animated wise. But this is going to be, each episode is going to be a different story telling you a story about a Jedi. Like one couple of the stories they announced, one of them is going to be talking about Master Dooku and his Padawan Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yes, and Corey Burton's coming back to voice Dooku.
Jeez.
And Liam Neeson is voicing Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh my gosh! The only one I saw was on Twitter that one of them was about Ahsoka. Tales of the Jedi, right? Okay, that's
the other one I was going to mention.
Okay, I didn't know.
Another episode is going to be talking about Ahsoka, but it's not going to be about Ahsoka per se. It's going to be about Ahsoka's mother. And her giving up Ahsoka to the Order.
Ooh.
The voice of Iden Verso from the Battlefront 2 series video game,
yes,
is voicing Ahsoka's mother.
Nice.
And that is going to be. I cannot wait to see. I'm super excited about that animated series.
Yeah.
we constantly say it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan, and we've been saying that for years since Disney took over with all the movies and all these shows we were getting. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan because you've never had so much content. But my Lord, what they're giving us now, I mean, it's just getting better.
Oh, it's an embarrassment of riches. I saw Filoni on the Star Wars Celebration live stage today, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking to Andy Gutierrez, and he said that he was writing these little tales and then sent them to Carrie Beck and I'm blocking on the one other person.
Yeah, I missed him on stage today. Was it Athena?
Athena Portillo. Yes.
Okay. I was gonna say I didn't see it, but Athena's been heavily involved in. I know she's been involved in the Bad Batch heavily. So it wouldn't surprise me if she was also involved in Tales of the Jedi, since she was, heavily involved in Rebels as well as in Resistance.
Right, and those were the two. And he said they got back a hold of him. And they're like, "We want you to make these." And so that's how it started. Dave said he was on a plane. He was just writing little stories, and like you said, he sent them to both of them, and they really liked it, and they did it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, and that's coming out fall of 2022. So that's just something else to chalk up to later this year, that we're just going to have incredible stuff. I'm curious to how this is going to fall with Bad Batch also coming out fall of 22. How this is all going to line up. But either way, this is just going to be phenomenal. I'm so excited. So excited.
Are you ready to record all these episodes?
Oh, I am stoked for these episodes. We will. We're on episode 86. We'll easily surpass 100 episodes before the end of the year with all the stuff they're giving us. So we'll pass 100 episodes before the summer. So we got to start planning something special for 100, dude.
I know we will. We got to get somebody on.
We got to do something. It's going to be fun. But there's still more to talk about. There were so many things that came out of Celebration that we still need to talk about. Another one that came up, which, fits us perfectly because we are both huge fans of, is they started talking about the second wave of the High Republic publishing series. And there's a lot that came out of that. Like the wave 2 is going to be more about exploration. And what piqued my interest and kind of surprised me is the second wave. And I had to listen to this. They didn't actually stream this particular thing, I don't think, because I don't remember watching it, but they said that phase 2, which is covering the Age of Exploration, is going back and is going to be set 150 years before the books we just read.
Right.
So all the characters we just read and we all connected to and we all fell in love with and we all grew attached to aren't even going to matter because we're going to be 150 years before that. Yeah.
Well, this panel was the High Republic, hosted by Christina Ariel, and it was on the Star Wars stream.
I must have missed that part.
Yeah, there was so much content. Hours and hours, 5 to 6 hours. I think it was 7 hours on Friday. But this one, it was good. It was really good. And I've, like you said, we're big fans of this. We've read the books, middle grade, and of course, all the comics and all that. And yeah, I've heard people, talk about this, some other podcasts and so on, saying, well, gosh, just like Aaron said, we just got to know all these people, and there were so many to know that now they're going back 150 years. Now, it's interesting in the panel, and it wasn't Kevin Scott, or I don't think it was Charles Soule. I think it was Michael Siglain. Michael Siglain is the head guy over this whole initiative, and he said, I thought something kind of interesting. He said it's kind of like the original trilogy when George did that, and then he goes back in time to the prequels, and then he says we'll come back to our heroes that we just got to meet in Wave 1. So kind of a similar pattern to a certain degree, although I guess with the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, it's not. We're talking between episode 3 and episode 4, 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
Years.
Yeah.
This is a big span of time, and I get it, but I'm kind of like, oh man, I kind of, me right now, I fall on the side of I would like to continue with all these characters that I just spent so much time getting to. Yeah.
Now, we did get some titles, of course, for some books that are going to be coming in Phase 2.
Mm-hmm.
Zoraida Cordova is writing one called Convergence.
Mm-hmm.
We have Quest for the Hidden City by George Mann.
Mm.
Then, of course, we have some new authors coming in the mix, like George Mann, but we got Cataclysm by Lydia King, Quest for Planet X by Tessa Gratton, Path of Vengeance by Kevin Scott, and the one that really piqued my interest is actually going to be a audio drama, like they did with the Marshawn Rowe book. This one is going to be called The Battle of Jeddah.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious about that one. And of course, we're going to have all sorts of comics from Marvel, and we're going to have some more High Republic adventures from
it's going to be Dark Horse now.
Yeah, Dark Horse.
Yeah, Daniel Jose Older said that. Yeah.
And another thing that they announced is the book coming out about the art of the High Republic.
Yes.
Written by the fabulous Kristen Baver.
Yes. And in fact, they brought her on stage, buddy. They talked to the authors and Michael Siglain and James Waugh. James Waugh is there. He's part of Visions and heading up all that stuff, as well as the High Republic. But then they brought on Kristen Baver and also Mark Thompson, who has done the audio books for the High Republic, and it's kind of cool because he broke into Marshawn Rowe's voice as well as Skier, and the crowd just loved it. It was really cool to see him do it. But yes, I've got a number of the Art of books, Mandalorian Season 1, 2. I got the Art of Galaxy's Edge. I'll definitely get that. Of course, Aaron and I have the Art of Star Wars Rebels.
Of course.
Yeah. But yes.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Visions a moment ago. Season 2 of Visions, it was announced.
Yes.
And it'll be released spring of 2023.
Yeah. With I saw an interview with them that those individuals went on the Star Wars Celebration live stage. It was one of the last things they did before the closing ceremony. And they were talking about having studios now, not just from Japan, but England, Ireland, Chile, they mentioned, and I'm trying to remember France, some other countries. So it's really, again,
expanding.
Yes, to all these different studios. And you're like, holy crow. But
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll be the first to admit I was not a fan of Visions. I watched them all once, but they weren't my cup of tea. I'm fine with that.
Oh yeah.
There's always going to be something that that some people will like, some people won't like. There may be things that I like that y'all don't like, or some things that y'all like that I don't like, or maybe some things we both don't like, or maybe some things we both love. That's just a fact of life. So there's no need to, that's one thing fandoms had an issue with. You should you either love what I love or you're not a fan. It's not the way it works. So, I mean, I'm not going to say I didn't sit here and enjoy Visions. I did in my own way.
Yeah.
But it wasn't my cup of tea. And if I'm given the choice of, sitting down and picking something to watch, it's not going to be my first choice. It probably won't be my 10th choice, but it's just not my cup of tea. But I love the fact that it made somebody's day having that made and being able to watch that. I love that. And that's perfectly fine for me. And I'm excited for season 2 because I know somebody out there is going to be so excited for it and is going to love every minute of it. And I'm so excited for them.
Yeah.
Not for me, but I'm excited that somebody's getting season 2 of Visions.
Also, yeah.
So we still got more to talk about though. Holy snot. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
A new show was announced, live action show, called Skeleton Crew. This will be released sometime in 2023. This very little said about this show, but it was announced that it will star Hollywood actor Jude Law.
Yeah.
So that was a nice surprise. So that's coming. And there's a couple other things we do want to talk about. The big panel, I believe it was yesterday, was the Mando season 3, the Mandalorian panel.
Mm-hmm.
They called it Mando Plus is what they called it. And this was a huge panel, and there was so much good stuff that came out of this panel. We had a full lineup about season 3 of The Mandalorian, which was announced will be released in 2023. It was confirmed that Katie Sackhoff will be back as Bo-Katan, and it is going to be about redemption on Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
So we got that information. There was a teaser released exclusively for that panel. It hasn't been made public yet. I'll be I'm not going to sit here and make something up. There is a leaked copy of it out there. It's out there.
Yeah.
Quality's not good. I know that because I watched it. But wow is all I can really say. It looks exciting.
Oh my gosh. Well, and it was set up in those episodes at the end of Book of Boba Fett when Din Djarin is talking to the armor. They basically discussed what he needed to do for redemption, and here we go. Let's see what happens and see if it's possible.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to start seeing. It does appear we're going to be going to Mandalore.
Yeah.
In season 3. Now, part of this season 3, or part of this Mando Plus panel, was Ahsoka. And the greatest news of Celebration came out of this Ahsoka panel. The absolute greatest news of Celebration came out of this panel. Yes, we got confirmed that Ahsoka will be released in 2023. Not a firm date, but just sometime in 2023. But we got confirmation that Sabine Wren is 100% in this series. 100% in this series. It is. I just blanked on the girl's name.
Find it in
She is going to play Natasha Lou Bordizzo, who actually who had been announced as being a part of the cast, but never told who. But it was always speculated. So it has been 100% confirmed. She is playing Sabine Wren from Rebels in the Ahsoka series. But wait, there's more. The greatest news to come out of this panel is that our buddy Chopper is also going to be in Ahsoka. So it doesn't matter. The rest of the show could be nothing but black screen. But when Chopper crosses that black screen, it's going to be Oscar worthy. Give him an Emmy. It doesn't matter. It could be the worst show ever. Chopper's in it. It deserves an Emmy.
Well, going back to Andy Gutierrez interviewing Dave Filoni today on the Star Wars Celebration live stage, she was so excited. She goes, "Yay, our favorite murder droid is back."
Yeah. He's got to rack up his kill count.
I know. And then Dave Filoni, he just out of the side of his mouth says, "Chopper." He just made his little comment, But yeah, so yes, Chopper got some love today on the Celebration live stage. So I knew you would love that. So
that made my day. I was actually out at the where was I? I know I'd gone grocery shopping with my wife. Literally was parking the car. I had turned off the live stream to go grocery shopping with her because she asked me to go. I'm parking the car at Walmart and my phone is going nuts in my back pocket. I'm like, what in the world is going on? And I pull it out and it is one of our listeners and good friend of the show, Roll Farm Boy,
nice.
Tagged me in the post from Jedi News.
Nice.
Announcing Chopper not only was a part of the panel, he came out with Rosario Dawson, but that he was confirmed to be in the show.
Yeah. That's just, I'm so happy for you, buddy.
I lost my mind in Walmart parking lot. People were looking at me like I was crazy. They weren't far off.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool, man.
It is so, I am so stoked. I get to see the live action Chopper again. And again, like with Mando, there was a teaser for this one as well. Again, I'm not going to lie to y'all. It is leaked online and quality is terrible for the leak. But there's somebody else in that trailer that you can tell who it is. You never see their face. You only see them from behind, but you know who it is. And if Chopper's in it, the person you see from behind is this other person.
And I mentioned to Aaron just before we started recording that, again, I'm going back to the Dave Filoni interview today on Star Wars Celebration live stage with Andy Gutierrez. He said he was texting with Vanessa Marshall, the voice of Hera, last night, and he expressed how excited she was for there to be a live action Hera, because he kind of was alluding to Rosario being the live action Ahsoka, and Dave talked about how all these different people have brought these characters to life, and of course we know that Ashley brought Ahsoka's voice, and now Rosario's taking it. He mentioned Tia Sircar doing Sabine, and now you have this new actress, and of course he mentioned Vanessa Marshall, and now there's going to be someone who don't know doing the live action Hera. Yes. So Dave did talk about it today.
Oh yes. So we got confirmation of Sabine, Hera, and
Chopper.
Chopper. My boy.
Yeah.
My boy's in live action again. We're going to see my chop. My choppy chop.
I bet you they're going to use the same model, the same droid that we saw in Rogue One. They'll probably
which is the same one from Rebels Recon.
Oh, from Rebels Recon, yes, yep, on the Star Wars show, yep.
Yeah. And the Star Wars show, yeah. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Got to wait till 2023 to see it. But for the show, but it's coming. There's going to be obviously huge Rebels tie-ins into this, and it looks incredible, y'all. It looks incredible. So that by far is the greatest news that came out of Celebration. Everything else is just, icing on cake, but that is the cake. That's the cake, the icing in between the layers of the cake on a 20-layer cake plus extra icing. And they left the bowl of icing so you could snack on that as well. That's it. That's Chopper. So I'm showing my craziness. The only other thing I need to say about Celebration is they closed out Celebration this evening, and they did announce when and where the next celebration will take place. The next celebration will be next year in 2023, and this will take place on April 7th through 10th of 2023 in London, England.
Yeah.
So we are going back to Celebration Europe, y'all.
Oh, well, my hope, I said it to Aaron, is that they do a similar pattern as to a few years ago. I happened to be in Anaheim for that closing ceremony in 2015. And then they announced that it would be Celebration Europe 2016. And then in 2017, it was in Orlando. So my fingers are crossed that 2024 will be in Orlando. I have no clue if that's the case, but fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. That would be awesome if it was. I would love it to come back to our backyard. It would make it so much easier for us to attend. But hey, I'll just be excited wherever it is next, and hopefully it's somewhere where we can go.
That's right.
So, all right. So that pretty much wraps up everything we wanted to discuss about Celebration. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to talk some Kenobi, y'all. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Aaron and David here, Star Wars Reactions, and we are getting ready to jump into our discussion this week. Of course, part of Celebration was the premiere of the long-anticipated Obi-Wan Kenobi series, limited series on Disney+. This, of course, was released May 27th, 2022, which was Friday during Celebration. It was unique in the fact that they released Episode 1 and Episode 2 at the same time. So we got 2 of the 6 episodes, so we are already 1/3 of the way through. But we wanted to, take some time to sit down and actually discuss a little bit of part 1 and 2 of Kenobi. Both of these, of course, the story was written by Stuart Beatty and Hossein Amini. I probably butchered those, and I apologize. But of course, all episodes directed by the fabulous Deborah Chow.
Yes.
So, part 1 and 2, we actually see a glimpse of Obi-Wan's life on Tatooine. where he's working every day just trying to survive. He is taking each day one day at a time, just trying to make it through. Then we get to see life on Alderaan, of all the places, and we get to see Bail Organa and his wife and a young Leia Organa, which I will admit threw me for a loop. And Kenobi's life is pretty normal till Bail Organa shows up at his cave he is living in, not far from the Lars homestead, and begs him to help him because Leia had been kidnapped. So Kenobi, even though he has got some issues to work through, decides he has to go help Leia. So he leaves Tatooine, goes to the planet Daiyu, where to look for Leia, which is where they tracked the kidnappers to, or Bail had tracked the kidnappers to. So Kenobi goes to Daiyu, and unfortunately things don't go as planned because he is captured by the kidnappers. And this is when we discover that, of course, the kidnapping of Leia was not the actual target. Kenobi was the target, and that the whole thing was hatched by an Inquisitor named Reva. And Reva has it out for Kenobi in a nutshell. So, but before Reva can get there to claim her prize, Kenobi escapes with Leia, and a chase ensues across the city on Daiyu, where Kenobi and Leia eventually escape on board a cargo transport, but not before Reva reveals to Kenobi that Vader lives. Chilling, I could tell you. So I gotta know, David, what were your initial thoughts watching part 1 and part 2 of Kenobi?
Well, I came into this series with, even higher expectations than I did for The Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett. I think because, and Aaron and I talked about this on previous episodes of Star Wars Reactions, it's because of, the legacy characters here. I mean, having Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan, Hayden Christensen back as Anakin / Vader, I was like, holy crow. This is as big as you get. I mean, quite honestly. I mean, we, obviously with Mark Hamill as well, but these guys are in their prime here. And so I would say this, that I so far, these first 2 episodes are living up to my heightened expectations. Aaron alluded to it. I can't believe we're a third of the way through this series. There's 4 more, right? We've done 2. There's 4 more. But it started really strong. And I know for me, I was looking for the series to not just stay on Tatooine. I feel like a lot of the stuff before with Mando and Book of Boba Fett, they've been using the volume. Now they're calling it stagecraft. Has been primarily set there. And so I was really looking forward to other planets. Not that they haven't, with Mandalorian and so on, but I thought it was really cool to go to Daiyu and to Alderaan. That was incredible. They made Alderaan look just like it did at the end of episode 3. It was incredible. I'll tell you, Aaron was asking for my reactions. I'll tell you, I don't know what it was. I just found myself tearing up seeing a young Leia, and also tearing up when Obi-Wan dropped off that skyhopper. The one, I saw in 1977 as an 8-year-old. To kind of bring that in. I wasn't expecting that. And him dropping that off as a gift to Luke late one night just brought me to tears. Maybe it's the nostalgia, A few other initial thoughts, and I'll let Aaron jump in. It looks like Reva, as an Inquisitor, she's going to be deliciously evil. I'm thankful Ewan and Hayden are back. So cool. And I'm curious how they'll work out their confrontation, taking into consideration their meeting on the Death Star in A New Hope. I'm really curious, because of Vader's statement, you should not have come back. The last time we met, I was but the learner, but now I'm the master. Something to that effect. But curious to see how they deal with that. But what were some of your initial reactions, my brother?
Oh boy. Okay. So if you may or may not be aware, next to Chop Chop, Kenobi is my favorite character. Okay. So I had high hopes for this series. Hopes so high that I was worried I would be disappointed if it didn't reach my level of expectation. Because I felt like maybe my expectations may have been a little too high. And I was nervous I'd be disappointed. And I was not disappointed at all. This first 2 episodes exceeded my expectations in every way, and actually even took me on a trip I was not expecting. I was heartbroken when Kenobi was dreaming in the cave of Anakin and the fall of the Order and everything that happened in episode 3. It was nerve-wracking. And then for him to wake up and call out for Qui-Gon, it just gut-wrenching. I'll admit it. It did make me misty-eyed when all that was happening. But when little Leia showed up, and the performance by this little girl was just perfect, I couldn't help it. The tears welled up, and all I could, I'm tearing up right now. But all I could think about was Carrie, and it was a very moving to see Leia, because it's somebody I didn't think I would see again on screen. And after Rise of Skywalker, so seeing little Leia was very touching and very moving, and I thought was perfect in a way that I don't know. It made me feel good, and it did make me think of Carrie and made me cry. But overall, these episodes were just incredible. But like with everything, there's always something that sticks out, and there's one thing that sticks out that blatantly slapped me in the face. I was like, I don't like this. But we'll discuss that later. But suffice it to say, so far I love this series. So let's go ahead and jump in to some of our talking points here and talk about part 1 and part 2. One thing I did want to touch on, David, and get your thoughts on, the first episode of Kenobi started with Order 66 again. We saw that with the Bad Batch opening up with Order 66. Now we see this opening up with Order 66. And I like how we get different perspectives. I think I said this when we talked about the Bad Batch premiere. We're getting different perspectives of Order 66. We got the Order 66 from episode 3. We got to see Order 66, what happened to Ahsoka during season 7 of the Clone Wars. We got the Bad Batch with Kanan and Delpa Bilba. And now we got this opening sequence where we see a Master Jedi and younglings training as clone troopers bust through the door, obviously at the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that opening?
That was, it's like a pan down shot, right? And Coruscant, and then you see them training out there. It was incredible. The other one, I have to admit, it did. I immediately thought about, kind of so so many things I want to say here. Get my thoughts straight. Yeah, I immediately did think about Kanan and Depa Balaba, and you and I talking with Jason Fry, who, by the way, saw him with Leland Chi yesterday on the, or was it earlier today, on the Star Wars Celebration Live stage. So it was really cool to see him. But I thought about that also. You know, there's another aspect to Order 66, which is from Jedi Fallen Order and Cal Kestis. You know, and they
sure.
Yeah, they showed part of that, and I think someone has spliced it together. I think they're obviously going to add this clip as well. But you know, you mentioned Ahsoka, and gosh, just seeing Rex's hands just shaking in that particular rendition. This was so cool. I found myself looking down on different levels of the Jedi Temple there and seeing the Jedi trying to fight off the overwhelming force of blaster bolts coming at them. I thought it was incredibly well done. It's always very gut wrenching. It's always very gut wrenching, and I guess really leads into what we've heard Ewan McGregor talking about, which is where Obi-Wan is, and of course you alluded to it. Here it is 10 years later, but it's still in his mind, and I guess maybe sometimes I think about the Ukraine. We've talked about this a bit back in February and March, and some of my discussions in the psychology corner on sociopathy, psychopathy, and here's the Jedi Purge. Order 66 is led by in the Star Wars galaxy they don't say it, but here we would say Palpatine is a sociopath, a psychopath, and just gut wrenching, but I thought so cool. When those troopers came in, I'm like, oh my gosh, those are the ones that came with Anakin, and they got the blue, that's Vader's. Is that the 501st, right? The Vader's ship, right? Yep. Gosh, so well done. So just a ton of thoughts on it, but I love getting these different perspectives on Order 66.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I've enjoyed it too. It's been very interesting. One thing I did notice in this that we didn't get in previous incarnations is we got audio from the background of what was going on, and you constantly hear Palpatine's order going out, execute Order 66, almost just like being repeated over the intercom, which was crazy. Just constantly being repeated, and I thought that was a little strange, but it was a very unique perspective, and I think they don't necessarily tell us who we're looking at in this scene. We don't know who the younglings are. We don't know for sure who the younglings are. We don't know who the Jedi Master was. Well, I take that back. We know who the Jedi Master was because the if you have closed captions on, it identifies the Jedi Master as Venti.
Okay.
But as for the Padawans or the younglings, they're just identified as Padawan 1 or Youngling 1, Youngling 2, male youngling, female youngling. There's really nobody really gets identified. Velti is the Jedi's name. Excuse me, Velti. And it really doesn't. And I'm actually rereading the closed captions for this scene to see if it identifies any of the younglings, because so far it's only identified them as male youngling, female youngling, so forth, like that. But it's crazy what it's supposed to be, what's all going on. But I'm believing that one of these younglings, and this is not confirmed anywhere, but I part of me thinks that one of these younglings might be Reva.
Interesting.
Because why else would you show it?
Yeah, because they did that 5-6 minute recap of the prequels,
Uh-huh.
right?
So you knew Order 66 happened. You saw what Kenobi went through. You know all that. But why would you show this different perspective of Order 66 if it didn't tie into somebody in the show? Nothing they showed tied to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
The only other person it could tie to where it made such that it could have made such an impact would be on Reva.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if one of those younglings is Reva.
That's a good point. And I heard some people asking too, Aaron, where's Grogu? Is he in another part of the temple, right?
Could be another, for all we know, Jocasta Nu snuck him out.
There you go. There you go.
Maybe it wasn't Jocasta Nu. Maybe it was somebody else. Maybe Reva snuck him out.
Whoa.
Dude. Deep cut. We don't know. We really don't know if we'll ever find out who snuck him out of that temple. But Reva, we need to talk about Reva as an Inquisitor, because she is, you have, if she is the definition of a loose end for the Inquisitors.
Yes.
And she fits the definition perfectly. She is, we see in this episode, we see the fifth brother, we see the Grand Inquisitor, which of course we all know from Rebels, and we see how eloquent and how clean cut and clear spoken they are, and how in control of their emotions and feelings they are. Whereas Reva, who they also call the third sister, is literally a live wire. She has no patience. She flies off the handle at the drop of a hat. And she doesn't care what anybody thinks. And she makes it adamant in this opening scene with her on Tatooine when they're looking for a Jedi, and you think they're looking for Kenobi, but ends up being somebody else. That she doesn't want to hunt these little what she calls scraps. She wants to hunt. She for some reason, she has it in for Kenobi. Besides the fact that they allude to that she feels that if she gets Kenobi, she'll get more recognition and power from Lord Vader and so forth. I think there's more to it than that. Mm. And I think it ties back into that opening scene somehow. But what are your thoughts on this live wire Inquisitor we have?
Yeah, as you were describing her so well, buddy, I thought about her taking that guy's hand off. Man, I didn't, I guess everyone, people, we've seen so many limbs lost in the Star Wars movies and series and stuff, but a guy got his hand taken off by her. It's, it'd be interesting to see, how it is that, she's related to all of it. I love that Aaron brought up that she was possibly one of the younglings there in the Jedi Temple. Why does she have it out, for Kenobi? How is she related to Vader? What have they talked about? I do like this concept of her being a live wire. What I thought about, Aaron, as I was watching these episodes was that, typically within the baddies, the bad guys, you have someone do something like that ends up messing things up. I even think like with Hitler. Hitler, he had a bunch of henchmen that were yes men, were horrible people underneath him. But, Hitler makes these decisions. Let me not just go west into, France and so on in Italy. But let me go east and try to battle Russia as well. The greed gets them. And so ultimately something happens within the baddies to kind of ultimately bring them down. Her behaviors separate from the Inquisitor. And is it the seventh brother? I think the seventh brother. Is that right? The actor, I'm trying to visualize him, who played the brother in this.
Yeah.
Her behaviors keep them from doing exactly what they need, which is kind of what our good guys need. So, like I said, I think she's already deliciously evil, and boy, oh boy, there's going to be some great stuff going on with her here in these next episodes.
Oh, there definitely is, and I think we're not we're far from being over with her, because we come to find out as the story progresses into part 2 that the kidnapping of Leia was actually initiated by her, because she discovered in her research on Kenobi, who she is supposed to be forgetting about and not worrying about. We find out that she ordered Leia's kidnapping because she discovered during the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan and Bail were close. So she figured, the best way to get him out of hiding would be to go after Bail. And the best way to go after Bail, to get him to go after Kenobi, would be to get his daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So her secret is safe. She's novice. Her secret of being, Vader's daughter is safe. It just happens to be a coinkydink.
Yeah.
That she was the one kidnapped. And, so we see her, like I said, a live wire, we see her making plans to go after Kenobi, even though she's been ordered not to. So not only is she a live wire, she directly disobeys orders.
Yeah.
And this actually ends up leading to my only issue with this with these episodes. And that is at the close of the second episode of part 2. We see her and the Grand Inquisitor getting into it while they're hunting for Kenobi. Kenobi's hiding just 10 yards away from them, hiding behind a box. And her and the Grand Inquisitor get into it, and she stabs the Grand Inquisitor with her lightsaber through the gut.
Right.
And it leaves you with the impression that he's dead. She just killed him. I'm sorry. I thought Kanan.
Right.
Well, Kanan didn't kill him. He killed himself. But on board Tarkin's destroyer in orbit of Mustafar.
Yeah, which I just watched a few weeks ago. Yes.
In Rebels.
Yes.
Several years down the road from this.
Yeah.
So that is my issue with this episode. Now, granted, there is the possibility he is still alive. I mean, we've seen. I mean, we saw Maul get cut in half and survive, and we've seen crazier. But those sabers through the guts, like Qui-Gon,
right,
have always been proven fatal.
Yeah.
So it appears he's dead. So my only redeeming factor in this, and my hope that they didn't just try to retcon something from Rebels, which if they did, I'm going to have major issues with, is the fact that if you go back to the trailer, there are scenes with the Grand Inquisitor in it we haven't seen yet.
Okay. And so, Dave Filoni's all over this.
I understand. I understand Dave would be all over this, but at the same point,
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time they've retconned something from an animated show. I mean, so,
well, the seventh brother could take the Grand Inquisitor to the outskirts of, was it Mos Eisley? Boba Fett took Fennec Shan and go to a mod shop and get his gut fixed real fast. There you go. I'm just interjecting humor and tying in the last series, and Fennec took the gut shot from that other wannabe bounty hunter guy, Toro Ketchikan or whatever his name is. But no, I'm with you. That was, it's funny. I was curious to see what your issue was, and that was mine. I just thought, wait, is there another Powan that they put in that position? It doesn't make sense to me. And I agree with you. I don't want it to be the case that they retcon this, because again, this is, right between 3 and 4, and we know that Rebels is up closer to episode 4. So, was not expecting that at all.
No, not at all. So, being that, if you go back to the trailer, you see other scenes that we haven't seen with the Grand Inquisitor in it. So I have hope that, he's not actually dead. But then again, if he's not actually dead, how much trouble is Reva going to be in for trying to run him through? So it creates more issues in the story if he's not dead, in my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see, that's for sure. Because either way, I don't know. Either way, it's going to be crazy to see what they do. I don't know. It's just too much. Too much. It's warping my fragile little mind. So, yeah, whatever. So, all right. So we still got a lot to talk about. We still got some more talking points and stuff to go through. Before we do, though, we are going to take another quick break. We will be back with more on Kenobi Part 1 and 2. Welcome back, everybody. Aaron and David here. We are talking Parts 1 and 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the limited series exclusively on Disney Plus. You definitely want to sign up for Disney Plus and watch this show if you are not signed up for Disney Plus, because this is well worth it. So continuing on, of course, I know we've mentioned her in our discussions so far, but let's talk about Leia. Let's talk about little Leia Organa and go and Alderaan at that. We get to see more of Alderaan in this episode than we've seen literally in all the other Star Wars we've ever gotten combined in this first episode of Kenobi. We get to see the lush forest. We get to see the palace. We get to see a royal event that they're attending. We get to see Leia basically, put her cousin in place, which is quite humorous, which is why I love this little girl as Leia, because she reminded me so much of how Carrie would have played this. Just the no nonsense, tell you like it is, not scared to tell you to your face that you stink, essentially. And I think that's why I got so moved by this young lady's performance, is because she encapsulated Leia so much and so well in her performance as little Leia Organa, and it was perfect for me. And what were your thoughts of not only seeing Leia again, but being on Alderaan and seeing everything we got to see?
Oh my gosh. I wonder, buddy, when Ewan McGregor has talked in the recent past that, they were going to start filming. Of course, COVID hits. But then they talked about how they had done rewrites. And I wonder how much of it involved incorporating a young Leia. I'm curious. I don't know. And but I love that she's in it. I like Aaron said, I love seeing other parts of Alderaan. It looks so consistent, obviously, with what we see at the end of episode 3. When Bail brings Leia there to be with his wife. I think it's Brea, isn't it? Breha, right? Brea Organa, right? And and I love her little flying droid. Is it Lola?
Lola.
Yes.
Which Hasbro is releasing, they announced.
They're going to make $1 billion on that little toy.
Automated Lola doll. You can it's going to be available for pre-order soon. I think they said it was like $45.
Oh my gosh. They're going to make $1 billion. They're
going to make a killing on that droid.
Oh my gosh. And, it's kind of wild to see Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers there being the baddie, but it's a pretty good baddie. But I loved seeing her. And then, of course, some of the back and forth between Ewan McGregor and this young actress when they're on Dayu, when he buys her that little green cloak. He says, "You don't need those." First she grabs him and he goes, "Okay, the cloak and the gloves," so he gives it, and there you go. So love seeing Leia. And I really thought this was going to be, again, him on Tatooine primarily protecting Luke. And so this very pleasant surprise.
Exactly. And I was actually talking to some friends about this today because they were very upset that he's not on Tatooine protecting Luke and that they brought Leia into this. And the way I'm looking at this is, the buildup in this is we're going to have a Vader versus Kenobi fight at some point in this series, probably be toward episode 6 or part 6 of the series. We know that's coming. We've seen the concept art for it and everything. We know it's coming. But
right,
if this all was to have taken place on Tatooine and he fought Vader on Tatooine, where would he hide?
Right. It can't happen.
He's not going to die.
Right.
We know he escapes.
Yeah.
If he escapes, he can't stay on Tatooine. And if he drew enough attention to himself to draw Vader to Tatooine to fight him, he's putting too much attention on Luke.
Right.
So I love the story of bringing Leia into this because it removes him from Tatooine so this battle can happen.
Right.
Because he's not going straight back to Tatooine. He's got Leia. They've escaped Dayu. They're going to wherever this ship is taking them. And then from there, they have to get back to Alderaan. And of course, at that point, he's going to leave Alderaan. And where he goes from there is still up in the air because now he knows Anakin is alive.
Yeah.
So he has to be careful even more careful as to what he does, how he does it, lying low. And we know Reva's on his tail. So at some point, he's got, before he can go back to Tatooine, he's got to lose Reva and the Inquisitors. So there's no way he's going to go straight back to Tatooine. Even as he wants to, there's no way he can go straight back to Tatooine.
Well, and I think the brother doesn't believe Kenobi's alive. She does. So she's got to get, there's in some way, shape, or form, either she fails Vader and is killed by Vader, or maybe in a battle, Kenobi does defeat her. I don't know. But she's got to be taken off the playing board because, she's seen him and believes he's alive. The brother doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And of course, Vader could still believe, Obi-Wan's alive, but has no clue.
Well, obviously he's alive somewhere because he fought and lost, and Kenobi escaped. So they know Kenobi's alive. They know he's somewhere. And even the Grand Inquisitor says this, tells her at the beginning of part 1 of Kenobi, your obsession with Kenobi has to end. He's not yours to hunt. So Vader is looking for Kenobi. Yeah. He's not hers to hunt. So for some reason, she has a beef with this goes beyond, to me, her obsession with Obi-Wan and catching Obi-Wan goes beyond just wanting recognition from Vader. To me, it's she has some kind of beef with Obi-Wan that she wants to settle. And the only way she can settle it is by bringing him in.
Right.
And we don't like speculating. We don't like stuff like that. But I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up because I saw the most interesting theory as to Reva's connection to Kenobi.
Okay.
On Twitter. And it just literally, I read it and it blew me away. I don't know if this is correct. This is all speculation, and we usually don't engage in speculation here, but we can't have this discussion about Reva without, and I can't go on without bringing this up.
Right. And I got to piggyback off you on something as well. I mean, I'm so excited. Yeah. I mean, people just love us and our excitement for this.
So, I mean, it's this theory said that Reva was the Padawan that we see at the beginning, and her beef is with Kenobi is she was supposed to be Obi-Wan's next Padawan, and because he never made it back to the temple to get her, she ended up in Order 66. She ended up with the Inquisitors, and she blames Kenobi for everything that she's gone through. And she wants revenge.
That's pretty good. That could very well be it.
I thought that was just exceptionally good.
Yeah.
Now we're not saying any of that's true. It's just one theory that's out there, and it's a theory that I really like. I mean, we could all be completely wrong, and she could live. This all could just be literally about, job advancement for her. But something in her actions tell me this is more than that. Well, this is an obsession.
Right. And then here's my question. And we have it in our talking points. It's called, I typed it in as Reva's reveal. Her reveal to Obi-Wan there on Dayu, like you said, behind the boxes, and she's there, and just before the Grand Inquisitor shows up. And my whole thing is, it seemed like I've read the Tarkin novel by James Luceno, and we were talking about how many people know besides the Emperor that Anakin is inside there, right? I mean, it's like, I don't even know that the Emperor really talked to Tarkin about that. So how would an Inquisitor who, is not even the Grand Inquisitor, how would she, know that? Did Vader tell her? Again, that we could very well see Hayden Christensen acting out these scenes with, as Vader, telling her and telling her to tell Kenobi that, to try to pull him out of hiding, whatever. But that was my big question, buddy. I'm like, wait, you're not even the Grand Inquisitor. How do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So anyways, were you thinking that?
That was another question. That was one of the many questions I had. But it's definitely a big one. How does she know? Because it was always implied through everything that she was not
one of them, kind of
one of. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't revealed to anybody. Yeah, the Emperor knew, but that was pretty much it. So
yeah,
it was, I think I definitely don't think Tarkin really knew
right.
who he was, and it's just not there. So I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah,
at this point, it's very curious to see how this gets revealed.
Yeah, it makes sense to me that it's not the Emperor telling her, but it's Vader that told her. So far, that's what I would believe. But again, like Aaron said, I don't know. It's just exciting to talk about these possibilities and how this happens. But we've got another episode dropping on Wednesday, and we'll see what that one reveals.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens. We will definitely see what happens, and I am very curious to see how all this plays out and how the issue, like I said, with the Grand Inquisitor plays out, because there's just too much there. Right. There's just too much there. Yeah, so let's keep moving here, because this is such a great series. We can't proceed without talking about Kenobi and Owen Lars, because it just in the preview we had before the series even came out, we got probably the greatest meme ever. That's just taking over social media by storm right now. When he says, "I got to train him," Kenobi tells Lars, he's got to be trained," and Lars just stands there and looks at him like, "You trained his father?" And that's become a massive meme now online. And we see that snarkiness not just in that one scene in the show, but even as it proceeds. Like when you mentioned Reva cutting off the hand, she's threatening Lars right there, Owen Lars right there in the square after she cuts this guy's hand off. Owen is standing there, and she's threatening Owen and the whole family if the Jedi doesn't come forward. The Jedi they're hunting, which ends up being a different Jedi, not Kenobi, because they don't know Kenobi's there. And if it wasn't for the brother, Owen, Beru, and Luke would be dead.
Yeah, that was
and Kenobi would have been out of hiding, because he would have been trying to stop him.
Yeah. Incredibly powerful scene.
And I mean, all Owen wanted was for Kenobi to leave them alone, to let Luke grow up normal, leave them alone, keep him so they can keep him alive and leave him with his family. And he had the chance to turn Obi-Wan over. He was standing right over on the side behind some boxes. All he had to do was, there's your Jedi, and he'd have been done with Kenobi.
Oh.
But he doesn't. And Obi-Wan comes out after they leave, and he's like, "Thank you, Owen." And Owen looks at him, he's like, "I didn't do it for you." And he turned and walked away.
Yeah.
Then who'd he do it for?
Well, I was going to say, I would say indirectly he did. He did it for Luke, because I wonder at some level Owen knows that, the Empire is horrible. If the Jedi could rise again, it could be something. But if Ben is
Luke out of it.
What's that?
Yeah, but leave Luke out of it.
Right. yeah, I don't know. I get a sense he did it for Luke, but also a bit for Ben, I think. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if, I guess for me, the way that, Owen Lars is acting towards Ben is probably like, look, just like what Ben was saying, that we lost, we've been defeated. And I'm sure Owen's like, yeah, the Jedi didn't solve this problem. We're sitting here with, Inquisitors coming onto Tatooine, and we got the Empire, trying to ravage the galaxy. So, how great is, Obi-Wan and this whole Jedi crew? You can see why he wouldn't have much faith in them. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got reason to be worried, but at the same point, I don't know. They have an interesting dynamic, and it's a dynamic I want to see more of, because we need, just in the little bit we've seen.
Yeah.
We're starting to understand why he became that hermit that lived beyond the Dune Sea.
Yeah. And why Owen was the way he was when we meet him in episode 4.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he had been even, I don't know. I want to see more, to see what else happened. And I got a feeling by the end of this series, we'll end up seeing what ends up happening more to cause that rift, to make him even watched from even further away.
Yeah, I agree with you, buddy.
So it will be interesting to see. So yeah, the only other thing I really want to touch on that I feel we really need to, and I think we mentioned it during opening our initial reactions and stuff, but Kenobi, and it was one of the first scenes in part 1, and we see it, and then it can kind of triggers at the end of part 2, is Obi-Wan is carrying a lot of baggage. He's carrying a lot of scars. He's, not every, what is it that Kanan tells Ezra in the episode The Last Battle? Battles leave scars, not all of them are seen.
Yeah.
And this describes Obi-Wan to a T at this moment in his life, because it's been 10 years since the events of Order 66.
Yeah.
But he's still reliving it every day. It is tearing him apart. That scene where he is sleeping and he's just dreaming of him and Anakin battling it out, and then waking up and screaming not screaming, but crying out for Qui-Gon, and waking up in a cave alone with nothing. This guy, based on what I've learned from your psychology corner, he's textbook PTSD. There's nothing about him that doesn't scream messed up.
Aaron has been maybe the premier student I have on my psychology corners. Aaron has really, yes, there's no question he has PTSD, and I've gone over the criteria for PTSD. I guess most recently in the psychological profile I did of the Ronin.
Yeah.
From the Visions short as well as the novel Ronin. And so people can go back and listen to that and get more on PTSD. But yes, Aaron, you're 100% correct. And I will talk a little bit in the psychology corner, not about PTSD, but but in essence, the resilience that we see in Kenobi. But I'm glad you brought it up because, you know, I think, well, again, with the wars that have gone on this planet, let alone in the Star Wars universe, there's so much more trauma out there that people have experienced than we even realize. And again, in previous Psychology Corners, I've talked about people being traumatized, not just by war, but, you know, sexual abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, kids that have seen all kinds of horrific things happen, adults as well, adolescents. Of course, since Aaron and I last recorded, we had a horrific shooting in Texas. There's PTSD and trauma all over that, and the psychologists and therapists in that area have a lot of work cut out for them. Of course, Aaron knows, and the listeners know, a lot of the work that I've done over 30 years that is incredibly traumatic is working with moms and dads who have lost children for various reasons: heart attacks, cancer, genetic disorders, all kinds of things. I can name. I've worked with people whose kids have been shot and killed. I've worked with people whose kids have died of choking on food or some other stuff. Just, I think I unfortunately have had almost everything in my office, but the trauma is there. And, you hope that in some of these series that mental health is discussed. I think, Aaron, if I talked to you about this, at the end of each episode of Moon Knight, which just aired on Disney Plus.
Show.
Yeah, they had, the main character dealing with what used to be called multiple personality disorders, called dissociative identity disorder, and I've covered that as well in Psychology Corners. And at the very end, I was, watching, all the credits, and did it for, Obi-Wan as well. I always like watching credits. And I was so pleased, Aaron, to see that at the end of the credits for Moon Knight, they put the number to NAMI, the National Association for Mental Illness. And so that was really cool. So mental illness is getting attention, and here it is, one of our favorite characters of all time, Obi-Wan Kenobi, definitely is experiencing PTSD.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said earlier, we see it in a dream, but it also gets triggered at the end of episode 2 when he realizes Anakin's alive, when he gets on board that ship and it takes off, and he just kind of leans against the wall and kind of sinks to the floor, essentially.
Yeah.
And just is literally staring off in space, and little Leia is like, "Are you okay? What's wrong? What's wrong?" And all he says is Anakin.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor, the way he does that, he really shows PTSD really well.
It is, what I said, I've always said that watch Kenobi was never my favorite till I watched the Clone Wars. And after seeing the Clone Wars series and seeing Obi and Anakin's basically brotherhood fleshed out, it gave me a whole new respect and a whole new love for the character and the loss that he went through. And to see him now having to relive that loss in his dreams, and then when he finds out Anakin is still alive, the look on expression on his face, the desperation in his voice when he says Anakin, it breaks your heart for what he is really going through. And my word, Ewan McGregor is just hitting his performance out of the park, playing this trauma.
Yeah. And that's, something, we can address maybe in some of the future Psychology Corners, to have such a big time star and character in the Star Wars universe, dealing with this. It's really cool to see. Of course, I hope it brings up conversations for many years to come about that. Anything that brings attention to mental health and mental illness, I'm obviously ecstatic for.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's the way it should be. I mean, these are things that, affect everyday life here on planet Earth. People are dealing with these type of things every day. And the more we get it out there, the more people can get helped, and more events like what we saw in this past week in Texas can be prevented.
Yeah.
And that's the only, it needs to get out. We need to confront these issues.
Yeah.
It's the only way we can help people and get things done. So,
well, and here, you and I have been doing this podcast, and you and I talked about a psychology corner, and we were both in agreement on it. And I've been trying to, make mental health issues more understandable and more at the forefront. And we've done it through our podcast, even before, Kenobi is coming on and showing PTSD. So much appreciated the help.
Absolutely. So any other talking points you want to hit on before we move to start wrapping things up?
No, I don't think so. I love seeing Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa again. That was great. And
it was.
Yeah. Quick question. Was Brea, is that the same actress, or was this a different person? I did not.
Good question. Let's find out.
I didn't I meant to go back to Revenge of the Sith and look at who played Brea Organa, and then look at credits here. I don't know. I'm trying to visualize the end of episode 3.
I got it. I got it pulled up right now. Hold on. In Obi-Wan Kenobi, Brea Organa was played by Simone Kessel.
Okay.
Simone Kessel. Let's go back here.
Should I look up Revenge of the Sith?
I'm actually scrolling through her IMDb right now. Revenge of the Sith was when?
2005.
2005. So no, it is not her.
Okay.
Let's see. Revenge.
Yeah, Jimmy Smits back, which is incredible. Like he was in one, and now in this. I'm just so glad he's there. What is it saying in Revenge of the Sith?
Let's see here. Queen of Naboo. I'm going through the IMDb for Queen of Alderaan. They didn't even have a name for her. So they just have her listed as Queen of Alderaan. Rebecca Jackson Mendoza. So it is a different actress.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. So. Thank you, buddy, for you get a very distant view of her of Revenge of the Sith.
They look a lot alike. So it doesn't have a picture of her from Revenge of the lady that played Brea in Revenge of the Sith on IMDb, but from what I remember from watching the movie, and of course what I see in Kenobi, they looked very similar.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, that's why I was asking. Gosh, is it? I just didn't take time. But all right. No, that was the only other talking point. It was just little details like that us Star Wars fans love. So,
all right. Perfect. Well, let's go into our final thoughts. Now, I'll go ahead and jump in. Since you started off with the initial reactions, I'm going to start off with our final thoughts. And I just have to say, I absolutely loved these first 2 episodes. And if that hasn't been clear from our conversation, what show have you been listening to? I really have loved these first 2 episodes. I'm truly enthralled by the story. I love the use of Leia to get Kenobi off of Tatooine, and bringing her into the picture. And I'm very excited to see where this leads. The one thing I hate is that we are a third of the way through the series already. But with that said, I still cannot wait till we get the third chapter on Wednesday. It is just a phenomenal series, and I loved every minute I've seen so far. David, what are your final thoughts on this episode?
Well,
2 episodes.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about it. We talked about 2 episodes as a third. After Wednesday, we're halfway done with the series. But I didn't want to depress us anymore.
Unbreak my heart.
Well, look, my final thoughts. I absolutely enjoyed these first 2 parts. I know it's kind of interesting to call them parts instead of episodes. I'm not quite sure why, but and I truly am excited for the remainder of this series. One thing I'm really looking at is, how epic or close to movie quality the last 4 episodes will be. I mean, I was watching one of the panels today, and it came directly after, I believe, the big Mandalorian season 3 panel that was yesterday on Saturday that Aaron was talking about, that we talked about in the news. After it was a behind the scenes of the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, and they had Richard Bluff on there, and just explaining how they developed the volume. And they had the other guy, the guy that's the head of Legacy Effects, when they really developed Grogu. So it was a very interesting panel. And I bring it up because Richard Bluff has talked about even the advancements between the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian, where we see Luke Skywalker come in, a young Luke Skywalker, and then the quality jump in 2 of the episodes there in the Book of Boba Fett that Aaron and I just covered a little while ago. I mean, it's incredible. So, it's clear that to me that, those wizards at IM, they're on the brink of being able to make all of these Star Wars TV shows at movie quality level. But they had a producer there, and I'm trying to remember her name in that panel on behind the scenes of the Mandalorian. She just said, they have a fraction of the budget. And but gosh, with a fraction of the budget, and you're looking at this is changing everything. And I'm just really, my expectations are we're going to see, these 4 episodes look even more like movie level, whereas I feel like some of the episodes of the Book of Boba Fett and even Mandalorian are more character driven. But I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic and really hoping to see just a real epic quality of these last 4 episodes. Again, like I said in the initial reactions, I wonder how they will handle this confrontation. Aaron talked a bit about where that might be. But the confrontation between Vader and Obi-Wan, and I really am, and this is a good thing. And I've talked about this when Aaron and I have covered different series. Am I looking forward to the next episodes? Am I looking forward to what they're going to do? And sometimes you're like, I don't know. In this case, how do they get Obi-Wan back to Tatooine, hidden and protecting Luke, right? And of course we go into episode 4 with Alec Guinness and young Mark Hamill. So very curious to see how they do that. And so that's fun. That'll be exciting to see.
Absolutely. It certainly will be very exciting to see. So now, of course, as you know, with new shows like this, we like to grade the shows. We grade them just like if you were in school and getting a report card with an A, B, C, D, or F. And we are going to grade each of these parts as well. And, there's just no way around it. For me, David, both of these episodes were an A. They were just incredible.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to see where we're going. How did you grade these 2 episodes?
Yeah, the same as you, buddy. And I'm really curious with an A and an A. I'm curious to see once we get Hayden and Vader in. I think we're looking at A+ kinds of stuff. And again, fingers are crossed. I can feel it coming, buddy. The Force. I got a Force Spidey tingling spider sense that we've got some A+ stuff coming, buddy.
Absolutely, I'm certain we do. It's going to be great either way. So A's for across the board for us for the Kenobi Part 1 and Part 2. So we're going to wrap things up and close out the episode. We just have to take one more break. And when we come back, we have a psychology corner and a new dad joke of the week for you. So you don't want to miss that. Hang around. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Aaron and David here. We are closing out the episode. And we, of course, are excited to hear what's going on. David, I understand you have a small psychology corner for us this week.
Yeah, I really, I told Aaron earlier, I'll say this to listeners, I really was very thankful for Saturday and Sunday. I, as a true Star Wars fan, maybe addicted, tried to watch all of the streaming from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have a few hours I have to do from Saturday. I just couldn't get that done last night. But I spent a lot of time watching all that and taking that in, hopefully like a lot of you did. So my psychology corner is a little bit more brief, but it's a combination of things. It's not only from these first two episodes of the first two parts of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, but also, as I was watching the live feed from the Star Wars Celebration stage, all of the interviews, the ones with Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, James Waugh from Lucasfilm when he's talking about Visions or the High Republic, watching the High Republic panel with all of the Luminous Five, those authors, across the board, even, hearing Matt Lanner talk today. They had Matt Lanner and Sam Witwer on and Andy Gutierrez interviewed them. This common theme in Star Wars, not only of found family, but I think of something I've heard across all these people is the issue of being selfless. Even Dave Filoni was teasing Andy Gutierrez because she wanted her character from from Rebels, Goody, to be brought into live action. He goes, "Wow, that seems pretty selfish there, Andy Gutierrez," and they had a fun little back and forth. But Dave Filoni has talked about that a lot, the issue of selflessness and battling selfishness. And so when I think about Obi-Wan struggling with PTSD, as Aaron and I talked about a few minutes ago, that's one part. But also, I wanted to bring to attention Obi-Wan's eventual. He does refuse the call to adventure several times in Part 1. We do see that. And like Aaron mentioned, Bail shows up on Tatooine. Didn't think I'd ever see that. And then accepts the call to adventure. But I want to bring to attention Obi-Wan's eventual return to fighting the good fight and helping others. And, I was home in Michigan from May 17th to May 24th, like Aaron said, taking care of family. Family comes first, and I was up there with my sister helping our mother. And, on the door of my room, it's still there. It's a poem called La Deserata. And I think I've talked about this a little bit before in previous psychology corners. But, Aaron and I have seen this. All of you listening have seen this. As men and women, children, adolescents, hey, when things are going your way academically or athletically or in a relationship, a marriage, your career, finances, etc., your car's not breaking down and tires aren't flat. When things are going well, when you look at people and they're like, oh, man, everything's great, right? You don't know that person's true character. In that poem, La Deserata, it says, the true test of a person's character is after their head has been bowed by defeat, disappointment, and failure. And I really thought about that when I was watching these episodes, and Obi-Wan, and he's really dealt with defeat, disappointment, and failure, and loss. And of course the PTSD, the post-traumatic stress disorder. And so to see him come back and help Bail and his wife and help Leia, and obviously he's helping Luke. This really shows his true character. And I guess I wanted to bring this to people's attention in this psychology corner because we have had a miserable 2 years on this planet, and particularly in America, and I know it's been bad in many places. But just, I would love to see all of us, after our heads have been bowed by defeat, disappointment, failure, that we show a true character of still wanting to help others, fight the good fight. Let's make our lives better, help each other out, not be the divided states of America, be the United States of America. And, I'll tell you, watching Star Wars Celebration, you want to talk about people coming together and showing each other love and care, because of Star Wars and what it brings together. There was a real message there in Anaheim of found family, support, loving each other, helping each other, and a real appreciation for being together again. You could really hear that in all the stage hosts and in the fans. And so, again, I really wanted the Psychology Corner to be a real positive one tonight, based off of these first two parts of Obi-Wan, as well as what I saw from all 4 days of Star Wars Celebration. So there you go, Aaron. A new Psychology Corner.
There we go. Perfect. And of course, we want to hear from you. If you have questions about the Psychology Corner, the best thing to do would be to talk to David. David, how would they go about doing that?
That's right, buddy. Several ways. First and foremost, probably Twitter. That seems to be the best way. That is my address there. Or my handle is @David_Modders, Modders. Of course, we have the email. It's david@StarWarsReactions.com. And then on Instagram, just look up my name, David Modders, and you'll see me there.
Excellent. And of course, if you want to talk to yours truly, the best way to do that is Twitter @TAHarris121079, or of course, email me, Aaron @StarWarsReactions.com. Of course, we do have a lot of social media you can always check out. We are on Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram @SW Reactions, on Twitter @SW Reactions Pod. You can always email the show @StarWarsReactions.com, and let us know what you thought of Celebration. Let us know what you thought of Kenobi. How would you grade it? You can give us all that information either in the comments or via direct message or even via email. We would love to hear from you. Of course, we will be back later this week covering episode 3 of Star Wars of Kenobi, part 3. And so be on the lookout for that. So, yeah, it's going to be a great time. Like I said, it's never been a better time to be a fan of the Star Wars saga. So kick back. As Hayden Christensen said on the live stage, this is where the fun begins.
I love that when he did that.
You talk about rocking the planet he literally sent that convention center into a frenzy when he said that. So I absolutely love that. And of course, there's only one way to end an episode of Star Wars Reactions. And that is with this week's Dad Joke of the Week.
Here we go.
Are you ready for this, David?
I am ready.
All right. Well, of course, here we go. This week's Star Wars Dad Joke of the Week. Do you know the difference between Vader's first fight with Kenobi and his final fight on the Death Star?
I do not know the difference between those two fights.
The first one, Obi won. The second one, Obi lost.
Oh my God. That is funny but horrible. That's good. That's actually good.
First one, Obi-Wan. The second one, Obi lost. Love it. But then you get into the debate. Did he really lose? Because he became one with the Force.
Right.
So did he really lose? Or did he just one-up him? That is a debate for another time, my friend.
That's right.
All right. Perfect. David, my friend, I have had so much fun.
Oh, this was a great one. This was a big one. This was a biggie to cover Celebration, these first 2 episodes. We hope everyone listened all the way through. It is a bit longer, but there was so much goodness to cover.
Absolutely. There was just too much to let slide. We had to get it all covered. And we're glad you joined us. We thank you so much for joining us. Y'all are awesome. We love y'all. Y'all are the best. Please stay safe, stay healthy, be kind to one another. Just show each other a little bit of mercy and a little bit of love, and you'll make the world a better place. I know you can do it. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.